if I said there was one thing that has kept me going throughout this entire strange life that I've had, it was an experience that I wrote about in one of my books in Idaho, and I think it's worth sharing for just a couple of minutes, because I would hope that you would all have this experience. I was up in the mountains. My dad made no money at all, and so the only way that I could go to college was I had to find a way to make money, and back then it was Miss America, Miss Idaho, Miss Boise pageants. So I got in these pageants and I got scholarship money and I accumulated it so I could go to college. But to do that, I had to do a lot of exercise to keep my body toned for all of this. So I'm up in the mountains of Idaho, and I had been climbing a mountain twice every day before one of these pageants. What an odd juxtaposition, right? And I remember that I was at the top. You've got to remember, this was not like adventure. This was routine. Instead of going on a treadmill, I'm climbing a mountain twice a day. So I'm at the top of the mountain, I'm ready to go down. And I had gotten just down from the crest, and I'm looking at these orange beams of light coming through some of these ponderosas. It was in the Salmon River country in Idaho. And I suddenly had never seen light so beautiful in my life. And I remember walking. I remember that I want to touch or get in this beautiful orange light. And then everything is 96 frames a second. And I am moving, but I'm moving like this. At the time, I had no context for the fact that you can transition in and out of dimensions. And the other funny thing is, I think I got to it, but I don't know what happened. And the next thing I know, I'm way down the mountain. And I become conscious again on a path. And I see this one mountain flower that's pulsing this orchid white light. And at the time, I didn't feel fear. I've never been a person who goes to fear. I will go to anger before I go to fear. So I was astonished. And out of my astonishment, because this big salmon country mountain was behind me, there were only a few tiny stars, but essentially the sun was gone and it was beginning to turn orchid in the sky. And the stars looked like the flowers. And I looked back at this mountain that I had just come down, and it looked exactly like the Van Gogh painting near the end of his death, The Starry Night. And the mountain seemed to be breathing. Everything was pulsing this light. And then I felt, it felt a little bit like jello, like warm jello, lifted up my arms. I wasn't doing it. Something outside of me lifted up my arms and my hands. And I remember I'm standing there with all this pulsing light, and my hands are now in front of my face. Something lifted them in front of my face. And this thought voice came and said, "You are one with the light is one with you, and you are in the hands of God forever." And then everything on a count of 5, like a rheostat, went back to the way we see the world. But the gift was, for the rest of my life, from age 20, you have been shown what is really there. Mm. And that has gotten me through a gun in my face. It has gotten me through some of the hardest stuff. I'm amazed I'm alive. Mm. And I just want to leave that no matter how the Kali Yuga seems to be taking hold of this country, we have an ally. I really believe that. And that ally is in the photon interconnectivity, the entanglement of this universe. Hmm. And that whether or not whether media, Alan, is going to transform anything, I think there is a divine field that may end up transforming even the media.
Thank you.